What if tomorrow your money became worthless? No warning, no paycheck, just numbers in your bank, gone. Imagine standing in line, desperate for food, holding a wad of cash, and no one wants it. One can of beans? That'll cost you your gold ring. Sounds insane? It's already happened in Venezuela, Zimbabwe, even parts of the US after disasters, and it can happen again. Stick around because I'm about to show you 10 everyday items that'll be worth more than money when the system collapses. Hey, welcome back to the channel. I've been digging deep, Reddit, prepper forums, survival YouTube, even old economic collapse reports, and what I found? It's disturbing. In every major collapse, one thing becomes painfully clear. Cash loses value fast, but food, medicine, and fuel, those become currency. And here in 2025, the warning signs are hard to ignore. Skyrocketing prices, cyber attacks, rolling blackouts, even billionaires stashing gold and building bunkers. In this video, I'll reveal the 10 most valuable barter items, the ones smart preppers are stocking now, because when the dollar dies, these could save your life. Before we dive in, drop a comment. Have you noticed price hikes, weird shortages, or things going off the shelves near you? Let's track this together. Item 1. Water and water purification. Let me tell you something most people don't think about until it's too late. Clean water disappears faster than food during any major crisis. Think about it. You can go weeks without food, but just 3 days without water, and your body starts shutting down. In 2021, when Texas faced that freak winter storm, millions lost access to running water overnight. People were melting snow in buckets just to flush toilets, and that wasn't a third world country, that was Texas. Now imagine that happening, but nationwide. According to the CDC, nearly 7 out of 10 U.S. households don't have more than a day's worth of drinking water stored, not even a case of bottled water. That's terrifying, and in a collapse? Tap water isn't guaranteed. Municipal systems run on electric pumps. No power, else no pressure, else no water. That's why water purification tablets, filters like the Life Straw, or even bleach become pure gold in a barter economy. People won't trade you canned beans for a $20 bill, but they'll trade for a bottle of safe, drinkable water. Trust me. And here's the shocking part. According to Food Bunker's 2024 Barter Readiness Report, water and purification tools are now in the top 3 most traded items in natural disasters worldwide. So if your stash doesn't include water or a way to clean it, you're not prepared. Period. Coming up next, the one food item that's quietly disappearing, but will be worth more than gold when the shelves go empty. Item 2, calorie-dense food. Let's talk about food, but not just any food. I mean the kind that actually keeps you alive when everything else falls apart. High-calorie, long shelf-life food like canned goods, freeze-dried meals, and MREs, the stuff that preppers swear by. You know what's scary? According to FEMA, the average American household has only about 3 days of food on hand. 3 days. After that, grocery stores are picked clean. And if trucks stop moving, restocking isn't happening. That's why calorie-dense food becomes the new currency in any crisis. Here's something wild. During the first few weeks of the 2020 pandemic lockdowns, canned meat and pasta sales in the US jumped over 400% according to Nielsen data. People panic fast, and when they do, food becomes more valuable than gold. No joke. Preppers know this. That's why MREs, those military-grade meals ready to eat, are always near the top of survival barter lists. They're compact, calorie-loaded, and don't need a fridge or stove. Same goes for peanut butter, beans, rice. Simple stuff that keeps you going, and the barter power? Huge. In Venezuela's collapse, a single can of tuna could trade for an entire day's wages. Let that sink in. If you're not stocking up on calorie-dense food now, you might end up trading your tools, your gear, or worse, just to eat. Next, we're diving into an item people completely overlook, but in a collapse, it becomes more valuable than medicine. Item 3, medical supplies and OTC medicines. Let me tell you something most people don't realize. In any crisis, it's not the lack of food that gets people first. It's the lack of medicine. Now imagine this, you cut your hand while chopping firewood. It gets infected. Normally you'd clean it, take some antibiotics and move on. But in a collapse, there's no doctor, no pharmacy. That infection could kill you. Sounds dramatic. It's not. According to a study published by the World Health Organization, over 5 million people die each year from infections that are otherwise treatable, simply because they don't have access to basic medicine. That number skyrockets in disaster zones. And here's the scary part. During Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, 90% of pharmacies shut down. Painkillers, insulin, even bandages, gone in days. In a collapsed economy, over-the-counter items like ibuprofen, aspirin, allergy meds, wound disinfectants, and even cough syrup become gold. And actual antibiotics? Practically priceless. That's why smart preppers stock up now. First aid kits, antiseptics, multivitamins, and common meds. Because when hospitals are overwhelmed or gone, you don't want to barter for a bottle of Tylenol with a bag of rice. Bottom line, people die without medicine. But people also trade everything they have to get it. And in a collapse, that makes medical supplies one of the most powerful barter tools out there. Item 4. Hygiene items, hygiene essentials, toilet paper, soap, feminine products. In a crisis, these aren't luxuries, they're lifelines. Why? Because without basic hygiene, illness spreads fast. Shockingly, 2.3 billion people globally lack access to soap and water at home. That's nearly 30% of humanity with no ability to wash their hands properly. Over 500,000 deaths each year are linked to just that, lack of hand washing facilities. That's more than many deaths caused by violent crime. So if you think toilet paper is just comfort, think again. Experts warn that new tariffs on Canadian pulp could trigger pandemic-level shortages and price spikes in the U.S. by summer 2025. Remember the empty shelves in 2020? That wasn't random panic. It was real vulnerabilities exposed. In a collapse scenario, people won't trade dollars. They'll trade toilet paper rolls, bars of soap, and hygiene pads. These items preserve health and morale when disease is the real enemy. Imagine trading a few bars of soap for someone's help, or even a couple of cans of food. So don't sleep on this. Hygiene equals survival currency. When water runs out and bacteria spreads, these items will become more valuable than cash in keeping you alive and sane. Item 5. Item 5, fuel and batteries, gas, propane, solar chargers. That's gasoline, propane tanks, diesel, even solar chargers. These aren't just handy, they're lifelines when society teeters. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, in 2020, 27% of American households struggled to pay their energy bills or keep their homes warm or even powered. Millions cut services or went cold just to save money. That's in a functioning economy. Now imagine a collapse. Power grid goes down, prices skyrocket, fuel supplies vanish, fuel becomes the new currency, neighbors trade propane for food, generators become gold. Here's the shocking part. Globally, over 3 billion people still use biomass or kerosene to cook and heat. These fuels cause 3.8 million deaths per year from indoor air pollution, more than malaria. When clean fuel vanishes, chaos follows. And here's a twist. Solar tech is booming. In 2024, world solar capacity grew 29%, though it still covers just 5.5% of global electricity. That means solar chargers and off-grid solar gear are rare and precious. Perfect barter material when outlets are dead. Fuel keeps you warm. Fuel cooks your food. Fuel charges your phones and radios. When others panic, those with propane tanks, diesel jerry cans, or solar power setups are in control. So stock up. A small propane tank, some extra gasoline, solar charging gear. They'll trade for meat, water, even medicine. In a collapse, fuel isn't just power, it's survival currency. Item 6, lighting tools, candles, matches, lanterns, Faust-style flashlights. Power outages aren't rare. In 2023, about 1 in 4 U.S. households, that's nearly 34 million homes, lost electricity for at least a full day, and 70% of those outages lasted 6 hours or longer. Across the past decade, outages happen roughly every week in many communities, impacting over 500,000 people, each countywide on average. These disruptions are increasing as extreme weather intensifies under climate change. Here's the shocking truth. During the massive 2003 Northeast blackout, emergency services were overwhelmed. Over 80,000 calls came in, many caused by candle fires. There were nearly 100 deaths tied to dangerous use of open flames in the dark. Yet, candles remained the only light for millions. Candles become hard currency in collapse scenarios, especially long-burning survival candles. Preppers stockpile them because when the sun sets, your batteries die, the grid is down, you need light to read maps, cook, or just calm your nerves. Matches and lighters then become gold. A small box can trade for food or water, especially if fuel is scarce. Lanterns and sealed flashlights, solar or hand crank models, are rare but in high demand. Surveys show fewer than 60% of U.S. adults felt prepared for such outages in the first place. That means most people scramble when the lights flicker out. If you have clean-burning candles, utility lighters, or solar-powered LED lanterns, you're in control. At number 7 on our list, gold and silver coins, especially what seasoned preppers call junk silver. These aren't collectible coins. They're practical, fractionally divisible, and widely recognized trusted currency. Here's the deal. Pre-1965, U.S. dimes, quarters, and half dollars are made of 90% silver and 10% copper. That means each dollar of face value holds roughly 0.715 troy ounces of pure silver. Surprising fact, today that $1 face value coin is often worth 20 times more than its dollar printed value, thanks to soaring silver price. During hyperinflation, paper currency collapses, but silver doesn't lie. History shows this again and again. In Germany in 1923 and Zimbabwe in 2008, local currency became worthless overnight, but precious metals held value. And preppers around the globe turned to silver because it's small, divisible, and trusted for barter when food, medicine, or gas is on the line. But here's something a lot of folks don't know. Junk silver bags command a premium over standard bullion. In fact, during shortages, a bag of coins can sell for 5% to 30% more per ounce than large bullion bars, adding to their real barter value in crisis situations. Meanwhile, gold is undergoing a wave of demand. In Q1 of 2025, central banks grabbed 244 metric tons of gold. That's 24% over the 5-year average. And high net worth folks like Zuckerberg and Sam Altman are hoarding precious metals as part of their disaster prep strategy, turning scrap coins into real tradable goods if paper dollars collapse. Think of it like this: silver is daily bread, gold is the bakery. If someone needs a few cans of food or a tank of propane, they'll take a handful of quarters. For larger trades, land, livestock, they'll want gold. Here's the bottom line. Junk silver is compact, trusted, divisible, and inflation resistant. It travels easily. It has no need for electricity or banks or gates. When paper fails, these coins become real currency again. So if you're stacking supplies, don't skip the silver coins. A few small rolls can make the difference between borrowing and paying. And gold? It's your safety net when bigger trades happen or when wealth matters most. Item 8. Seeds and non-GMO heritage seeds. Yes, imagine this, friend. Society collapses. Grocery store shelves empty. What do you trade? Cash won't help. You need food. That's where seeds come in, especially non-GMO heirloom seeds because they let you grow again. Here's a shocker. The UN FAO estimates we've lost 75% of crop diversity since the 1900s. Today, only 30 plant species provide 95% of the calories humans eat worldwide. That's an alarm bell. If disease hits one strain, traditional farming collapses. That's why heritage seeds matter. These are open-pollinated, non-GMO varieties. They're adapted to local climates. Hardy, able to regrow when hybrid seed companies can't help. Communities around the world rely on them to survive climate change, fair planet. In the US, the National Plant Germplasm System preserves around 620,000 unique seed samples, more than 100 different crops. There are also more than 700 seed banks globally, including the Svalbard Global Seed Vault, which holds over 930,000 crop varieties to guard against war, disaster, or climate collapse. Here's a real chilling fact. In the worst case collapse, if you don't grow food, you're at the bottom of the food chain. Communities without seeds lose everything, but if you have seeds, you're trading security itself. Fresh vegetables, grains, herbs for food, medicine, even services. Reddit preppers often swap seeds suited specifically to their zones. One user explained, buy seeds that fit your climate. They grow even under frost or drought. Fast food non-GMO kits can produce food within weeks. Buying a seed vault kit with open-pollinated heritage varieties, they cost little, often just $1 per pack, but their value skyrockets when crops are scarce. Item 9, tools and repair items. The survival barter you didn't see coming. Imagine this. The power grid fails. Your house needs repair. You can't order online. Supermarkets are closed. What do you have? Now envision pulling out a hatchet, a hammer, nails, or even a sewing kit. Suddenly, you're not just surviving, you're trading. You hold value. Because here's the thing, government and business resilience reports show supply chains are fragile. In 2024 alone, 76% of European shippers reported supply chain disruptions affecting their ability to deliver materials like tools, hardware, and construction goods. That wasn't a one-off, it's a trend. Still more surprising, in the US, wages for skilled trades, carpenters, electricians, welders, have risen by over 20% since early 2020. That reflects rising demand and shrinking skilled labor supply, according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. In a collapse, people won't trade dollars. They'll trade real skill and the tools that deliver it. Let me share a little reality check. In the Great Depression, folks traded tools for staples. A blacksmith accepted potatoes. In post-Katrina New Orleans, people swapped hand tools to rebuild their homes when money vanished. Today, experts on preparedness stress hand tools, hatchets, saws, screwdrivers, needles, thread, nails, fasteners as essential barter items. They last, they fix things, they let you create shelter, mend clothes, power trade skills. And here's the shocker. Once disruptions hit, hardware stores run dry fast. People panic buy nails. A single hammer can fetch food or even medical basics. Trade that with someone whose generator needs repair or whose shelter needs strengthening. When materials are scarce, people rely on skills and tools. You can mend clothes, build a shelter, or repair a fence, even bartering for labor or supplies. Tools become a kind of currency. So here's what to keep stocked: a small hatchet, a basic hammer and screwdriver set, extra nails and screws, and even thread and repair patches. Store them safely. They hold value. Remember, when the world breaks, your ability to fix things matters, not just to you, but to your entire community. Tools and repair items won't just trade for food, they'll trade for trust, protection, and survival. At number 10 on this countdown, skills and service, not gadgets, not canned food, but what you can do. And yes, this might be the most underrated barter asset of all. Because here's the truth: when supplies run out, skills never do. One prepper guide notes that in a barter economy, unique skills, repairing radios, brewing alcohol, bicycle maintenance, often outrank stocked goods. And Reddit's prepper community agrees, ranking gardening, medical know-how, and mechanical repair at the very top of essential tradable skills once society stops working as normal. Let me drop a jaw-dropping stat. Globally, around 3 billion people rely on traditional medicine or local remedies. Medical service, in whatever form, becomes gold when hospitals can't function or supplies vanish. The ability to stitch a wound, set a broken bone, or heal an infection is life and death valuable. Governments and disaster agencies emphasize this too. A World Health Organization report after COVID-19 stressed how essential trained volunteers and medical staff were, not because they had gear, but because they had the knowledge. Here's something that surprises many. In many rural collapses, the person who can repair a generator or build a rainwater filter becomes the center of barter networks. Simple electrical or plumbing skill often surpasses physical goods in worth. Need another shocker? Communication and negotiation skills, what most modern folks call soft skills, rank high in value. Negotiating fair trades, mediating conflict, organizing small groups. Reddit preppers list that as critical for community survival phases. So, what exact skills are most valuable? Let's break it apart. Gardening and farming, producing fresh food, and teaching others how to gives you barter currency that regenerates itself. Medical and first aid, basic wound care, herbal treatments, herbal antibiotics when supplies dry up. Knowledge keeps you and others alive. Mechanical and electrical repair. Think solar panels, radios, generators, bikes, even sewing machines. One strong fixer in a collapsed town becomes indispensable. Construction and basic carpentry, shelter, chicken coops, root cellars, outhouses, hand tools, and know-how have massive barter value. Soft skills, leadership, conflict resolution, negotiation, communication, build trust. These are day zero currency when forming groups to share resources. In short, don't just stockpile beans, build your brain. Your ability to teach, heal, fix, or lead is the most flexible and renewable form of barter. You don't wear out, you don't expire. So if you're watching this, ask yourself, what could you trade, even if your shelf is empty? A harvest from your garden, a first aid treatment, a repaired tool, or even a peacemaking skill to help your community stay intact. Pick one practical skill. Practice it now. Teach someone else, because in a collapse scenario, skills are survival currency. So let's recap. When the dollar crashes and cash becomes worthless, these 10 barter items could be your ticket to survival. We're talking food, fuel, soap, skills, the real currency of a broken system. And here's a final wake-up call. During Armenia's hyperinflation, cash became useless, but food and gold actually went up in value. That's not theory, that's history. But remember, balance your stash. Don't hoard barter goods so much that you forget your essentials. You can't trade what you don't have for yourself. Now tell me, which of these would you trade your last roll of toilet paper for? Drop your answer in the comments. If this video got you thinking differently about your preps, smash that like button and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next survival deep dive. Stay sharp, stay stocked.